Okay, so Bruno Guimaraes just made the shock switch from Newcastle to Arsenal for £75 million. Let me tell you why this transfer is about way more than just a player changing clubs. Think about this. How often do you see a captain who saved his team from relegation, led them to a major trophy, and took them to the Champions League, just walk away? That's the paradox here. This isn't a simple chasing trophies narrative, it's a seismic shift in how modern footballers balance loyalty, ambition, and legacy. Now, let's unpack this. Guimaraes called it one of the toughest decisions of his life. Personally, I think that line gets tossed around a lot, but in his case, it actually rings true. Why? Because he's not just leaving a club, he's abandoning a legacy. He became Newcastle's first captain in 70 years to lift a trophy. How do you just walk away from that? But here's the twist, maybe that's exactly why he's leaving. He's already made history there. Now he's asking, what's next? And that, to me, is fascinating. It's like he's saying, I've saved the movie, now let me direct the sequel somewhere else. Let's talk about Arsenal's angle. Why spend £75 million on a midfielder who's already 28? In my opinion, this isn't just about filling a position, it's about stealing a leader. Declan Rice and Guimaraes. That's not just a midfield duo, it's a psychological power couple. Think about it, Rice, the relentless workhorse, and Bruno, the creative spark with captaincy DNA. But wait, did Arsenal really need this? They spent last season dominating the league without him. So why the urgency? What this suggests to me is a shift in their long-term vision. Arteta's building a squad that doesn't just compete, it dominates mentally. Guimaraes brings that never-say-die attitude he perfected at Newcastle. But will that intensity survive the pressure cooker of Arsenal's title chase? That's the billion-dollar question. Now let's dissect Bruno's own words, I want to make history. On the surface, that sounds like standard player speak. But dig deeper. At 28, he's not exactly starting fresh. He's making a calculated gamble. Why now? Because he knows this might be his last shot at consistent trophy contention. Newcastle's slide to 12th place last season wasn't just a blip, it was a warning. They're a sleeping giant, but they're still sleeping. Arsenal, meanwhile, are right at the tipping point between contender and champion. What many people don't realize is that this move is as much about timing as talent. If he'd waited another year, would Arsenal still have been in the title race? Unlikely. This is a now or never play for both parties. And let's address the elephant in the room, £75 million for a player who's already been at one club since 2022. Is that smart business or desperation? From my perspective, it's a masterstroke of market timing. Newcastle couldn't afford to lose him for nothing next summer, and Arsenal knew it. They leveraged the situation perfectly. But here's the kicker, this transfer fee might actually be cheap if Bruno elevates them to that next level. Compare it to Declan Rice's £105 million move, same position, similar impact. Suddenly £75 million looks like a bargain, right? What's really intriguing is the human element. He's getting texts from future teammates like Gabriel and Rice, with Rice joking, no more fights, now we're friends. That's not just locker room banter, that's symbolic. It shows how quickly rivalries can flip in football. But also, how much pressure does that create? Now he's not just joining a team, he's stepping into a pre-existing dynamic with Rice. Will they blend seamlessly, or will the midfield become a battle for control? If you take a step back and think about it, this could define Arsenal's entire season. So where does this leave us? For Bruno, It's a high-stakes reinvention. For Arsenal, it's a bold declaration that they're all in on the 2024-25 title race. But here's the deeper implication: this transfer reflects a broader shift in football where emotional legacy and pragmatic ambition collide. Players aren't just choosing clubs, they're curating their careers like CEOs building a portfolio. So I'll ask you this: is Guimaraes' Newcastle chapter the end of a love story, or just a prologue to a bigger legend? Let me know your take in the comments, because trust me, this isn't just a transfer. It's a cultural moment waiting to happen.